Hey guys, what's going on? How are you? So cool thing, we're going to talk about where we left off on this boat last time we did anything with it. It's pretty important because it's like half built, and I kind of explained to you some of the things I did to it to get it there and why I'm going to gut it all out. There's a lot of mistakes that I did in this boat early on that I wouldn't do. Now I've already done them for you, so don't do them once you see it. So now for a little bit of awkwardness, but hopefully we only have to address this once. I've gotten the odd comment here on YouTube and then also on Instagram and a lot on Facebook where there's people like actually making posts about it. Specifically talking about my advertisement of like my store and like crowdfunding on this channel. And just I wanted to address that real quick. So for those of you who think that's kind of selling out, which is more or less what all those posts are indicating towards, for those of you who feel that way, I'm sorry. But know this, in order to go full-time and stay full-time on this channel, there's certain things that has to be done because it's a specific target audience of this like DIY outdoor channel culture that we got going on here. It's very specific, and anybody who's trying to do the same thing we're doing can maybe attest to like some of the challenges that go along with this. So to not have to do sponsorships and brand deals and things like that to keep a channel with like a small subscriber base like this and ultimately a small impression base keep going, like there has to be some outside soft income. So when you guys do go through Patreon or you become a channel member here, or you know, you buy stuff from the store, that's like huge for us because that allows me to continue to do videos and a bunch of other stuff. So yes, the other option is I start putting videos in this channel that will blow it up. And so the subscriber base is so big and the views for each like video are like, instead of like 3 to 10,000, they're like 30 to 60,000 or even 100,000 per video. At that point in time, I need no sponsorships because YouTube will like, the revenue I'll get there will like pay for everything. But that means I'll have to start linking in universal DIY videos into this channel. It won't just be an outdoor DIY culture where we just do boat building and fishing and bait making. How I know the universal DIY videos will work in this channel is because I did one. There's only one on this channel, and it's of a bearded dragon enclosure. And with one video, I overtook everybody else on that venue. All the creators targeting a specific audience, I beat them all with one video. It's like the top trending video for that stuff. And that actually was #1 over all my other videos for a week, and it's constantly in and out of the top 5. It always stays in the top 10. And that's just a testament of what I can do in terms of like actually becoming a universal DIY giant on YouTube. It can be done, but now like because I ran a poll asking if I could do that here, people overwhelmingly kind of voted in favor of no. They didn't want it. Like the comments were, how dare you even ask, kind of like comments. And so yeah, I sided with you guys on the poll and I made a separate DIY channel. It's a super huge pain for one guy to manage 2 channels, especially the way we're making videos now. But I'm gonna do it, but like, you can't, it's like one or the other. You can't have both. You gotta choose. So if after you hear this and you're still unhappy with my answer, it would be unfortunate to lose you, but if you have to unsubscribe, you have to unsubscribe. Now that that's over, let's roll the tape. I'm tired of waiting. So first things first, we are going to vacuum this thing out because it's full of debris, because I kind of use it as a storage thing. And then we're gonna flip it over, strip all this paint. We're actually probably gonna have to do a few things before that, but I'll show you, just stay tuned. Back in the day when I did this boat, mistakes were made, and I contemplate gutting the entire thing because of that, but I'm going to try this initial run. If I really am unhappy with it in the end, I will just gut and redo the whole thing. But one of the mistakes that were made was I used closed-end pop rivets to redo the whole thing. The big deal was I gutted these bench seats. I really didn't want to gut them. It's just when I was cutting them, I was cutting with a grinder, and it was a super hot day, and I thought my grinder was going to explode. And so I chiseled and grinded off the rivet ends and pulled out the bench seats. What I really wanted to do was keep the back wall of each bench seat and turn the front wall into angle that I could attach the rest of the frame to. And that would have been a much better thing to do. Now I have to worry. So I sealed these in. I'm going to have to epoxy over them after I sand them all down and or I get this thing ready, prep for paint, and I'm gonna have to hope that epoxy holds. I'm not gonna be going obviously very fast. We're gonna put a 6-horse on this boat at the end of the day, and so I'm not gonna get like mind-blowing hole shots or go very fast. It's kind of a cruiser to get into like the shallower pondish areas. So I'm not too worried about the hull shaking under high speeds and then, lifting these rivets. If it happens, it happens, and we'll definitely know. I already know that it was a mistake. We'll figure out how big a mistake it was. What I should have done, if I was gonna gut the bench seats and then put new angle in to frame it all in, which is what I did, I should have used buck rivets, got a bucking bar, and an air hammer, or just a regular hammer, which would have taken a little bit more time consuming with a regular hammer. But we could have gotten all this done and no leaks. But just FYI, if your bench seats attach to the entire hull, don't gut them. That's the stupidest thing to do. There's many other ways you can utilize them without gutting them. So the initial plan here was to paint the boat completely black. Later on, I chose to keep it camo, which was stupid. Just took off a bunch of perfectly good camo paint, but we're in deep now, so we're just gonna show you the process. So if you use it right, it will work, and you can just scrape it off with a scraper. Yeah, look at that. Doesn't that look wonderful? So this was a terrible mess yesterday. The paint stripper was just like a terrible experience. The primer, really, the paint came off very easy. It was the primer turned into this nasty, slimy sludge gel. Or I put too much on. See, that's like all the paint. Look at all that. That's like disgusting. And I got some of it on me and I burnt my hands. So I think I'm gonna take a wire wheel to a softer wire wheel and just go to the whole thing very, very closely. I'm gonna do it with some sawhorses. I'm gonna stick this thing on the sawhorse and it didn't really go good into the night, and I figured it's just because I couldn't see well, but really, I have no excuses now. It's just turning out really bad. It is a huge pain to kind of scrape this paint off between the million rivets on this side, and even if those rivets weren't there, it would just still suck. Turns out these things are powder coated with really good paint, and it does not want to come off. And just so you know, I used 3 types of stripper, including aircraft remover, and that stuff didn't do it either. What I'm really doing is just scraping as much as I can off like this. Pretty disgusting. Just sludge. Whatever I can't get, I'll have to get with a wire brush. But it's exhausting either way. If I wire brushed it completely, it would be exhausting. If I did it this way, completely, it would be exhausting. But I think that both of them in certain stages will be good. Know that I'm using the soft wire brush and not that twisted coarse one. That'll rip your hull in 2. So don't use that one. Okay, update. A bladed scraper, a small bladed scraper that could fit in between the crevices of the rivets, did the best versus the non-bladed scrapers. So they came in here pretty good. I may have gotten some scratches in there, but it's, at this point in time, I don't care. Like, I got a lot of that paint off. Good setup here. I also put in some closed-end pop rivets, 5/32 inch thick. And I'm grinding them down flush at the end because when I epoxy primer over this, they'll all seal in and it'll be just like there were no holes. Now I have to wet sand this whole thing and get all those friggin' gross brush marks that I put in there trying to get it off, and obviously the scrape marks I use with the scraper. But the scraper and the wire brush are the only way I was going to get all of it off because it was just going to keep sludging up with a stripper. Jack up as the rest of the boat. Pretty good. Alright, well, here it is. Currently is serving as a workbench for all my stuff, which I'll be taking off because tomorrow we're gonna get right into this thing and I'm gonna bust it wide open. Some of the comments when I initially launched the first video, they were telling me aircraft remover was the way to go, and that using the citrus stuff on paint like that was stupid. And I guess they were kind of right. I mean, that stuff actually is pretty strong. The citrus strip don't, but I mean, they definitely need something stronger. I did try this stuff. Unless this stuff is just really bad aircraft remover, it sucks. Like, it wasn't any more effective. This Jasco Premium Paint Epoxy Remover, which, like, if you look at it, it looks like death. It looks like it's like acid from one of the Alien movies. It's gonna burn like through for like 5 layers of the ship. This stuff is also maybe the strongest out of all these, but not by much. But I will be using a combination of these two to get the remaining paint off, because there is still a little bit. I don't really know if it's too big of a deal. I mean, there it kind of is. Now that I took all that great primer off, I'm gonna have to put some equally robust primer on it. It was just so stupid. But maybe it'll all work out, because now that I'm going to do the whole thing, I might still just paint it all black. I might still just do black. I am undecided on exactly what I'm going to do here, but it's going to be pretty cool whatever I do. So stay tuned and check out the layout. Check out this kit that we made. We will be unboxing it and talking about it in depth during the next video, along with the complete gutting and renewal and renovation of the whole entire platform. We got some very cool things coming up. Stay tuned and check it all out. I'll see you all there.